Hi, it's Matthew McAllister here. One of the big problems that guitarists have is alternating the right hand fingers. So whether your combination is IM or MA, or in my case IA, that's the one I predominantly use when I play. When we cross strings, sometimes we don't really truly do that alternation. So if we're going IA, sometimes when we're faced with a string cross, we'll double the index finger or drag the A. And it's really good to try and develop an excellent technique where you don't have any unwanted double alternations when you're crossing strings. So I've got a clever little exercise which you can do over 1 octave scales, 2 octave scales, 3 octave, whatever you want. And it builds up trust with that string crossing. It also helps you build up some speed and also helps you get the same consistent type of tone on every string, or at very least it starts to make you think about that. So we'll get in close in a minute, but I just want you to see the scale right now. I'm going to do an A major scale, so just a simple scale. So that's just a 1 octave scale, A major. No open strings, everything's fretted. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play that in groups of 4, groups of 3, groups of 2, and groups of 1. Now the reason I'm going to do that is whenever I use an even number, like a 2 or a 4 or a 6 or an 8, every time I come to a new string, I'm going to cross over to it with exactly the same finger. But every time I use an uneven number, like a 1, a 3, a 5, a 7, every time I hit that new string, it's going to be with a different finger. So my alternating pattern is coming into question at that point. It's mostly when people have string crosses on irregular groups like that, 3 or 5, 7, things like that, or a fragment of a scale at which that kind of happens, that they double an index or they double a ring finger. So if I just play that scale in groups of 4, and I'm going to start with I. So this is IA, groups of 4. I started with I crossed to the B string with I crossed to the G string with I. Now if I start that with A on the string cross, A on the string cross, A on the string cross. Now as I play that scale, I'm listening for that consistency of sound. I want the similar tone between my I and my A finger. Now here's my trick. I'm going to ascend the scale in groups of 4, descend in groups of 3, ascend in groups of 2, and descend in single strokes. Okay, so this is quite tricky, but what I'm doing is when I get to the top of the scale, I immediately change to an irregular pattern. When I get to the bottom, I go back to even, and that's going all the way through. I'm using 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. You can use any rhythmical grouping once you get a bit more confident. So I'm going to start it with 4s. Change to 3, 2, and there's my single stroke at the end. And what's quite cool about that is my single stroke kind of creeps up on me, so suddenly I'm playing very fast on single strokes. Let me show you again. 4s on the way up. 3, 2, and then the single stroke at the end. Now you need to get in close to my right hand now and see this in action. So now we've got a really good close-up of the right hand, and I'm going to start to do that scale again. So up in 4s. Here's the string cross coming up. Again, I started with I. That means I cross with I. I change to 3. Nice groove there. Then 2. 1. And you'll see what I mean about the faster part there when you do single strokes at the end. That actually then becomes, not that you're trying to play fast under a lot of pressure thinking, you're actually thinking, okay, I'm in motion, 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s, 1 suddenly creeps up on you and you're playing quite quickly. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to start with A this time, so you'll see that A is the one that is responsible for the string cross. A. String cross. String cross. Now here, I change to 3s, so A, I, A. It's I this time, and then it's A this time. Now back to double strokes now. So when I'm doing uneven numbers, let's say odd numbers, 3s and 5s, I'm really challenged to cross the string with a different finger. But when I'm doing the odds, it's a little bit more comfortable. Now I'm going to do a 2-octave scale now. So this is going to be a C. Okay, so you can see now how that really works when you start to add in extra octaves. You've got a lot more string crossing, so you've got a lot more possibility to practice this technique as good as you possibly can. So there are many possibilities with that way of practicing scales. I think the one I like the most is this idea of speed development, and then also this idea of consistency of sound. So, I mean, I was just doing that with I and A, but you could try it PI, PM, PA, and then you're balancing thumb against fingers. Most people like this IM combination, so you could really try that. Work on it with all possibilities. I've showed you over 1 octave and 2 octave. If you tried it over 3 octave scales, like for example in an E, you're looking for that cleanliness of technique. You're looking for every note to be clean, the transitions between 4s, 3s, 2s and 1s to be smooth. No matter what tempo you start off with, remember that is going to end up being your single stroke tempo at the end. Why I've started 4s, descend 3s, ascend 2s and then descend in single strokes is it's hard to play fast descending. We're always used to starting scales ascending, so we always practice in that forward upward motion in terms of pitch. Okay, we're getting higher. The descending scale is really hard to practice, so starting is very difficult. But again, this idea of 4s, 3s and 2s and 1s, it just gets you warmed up and gets you in there before you try and play at that fast tempo. Enjoy it. Lots of possibilities, lots of fun to practice. Challenging your speed development and challenging your true alternation of your right hand. Good luck.